this guy. But Stanger, dang it, I said I'm going to. Dude, I love you. And I mean that with everything in me, buddy. I am so, so proud of you, and I cannot wait for you to come up and talk to these people. So come on up here.
So, lucky for you guys, I wrote some stuff down, so I ain't going to stand up here and try to wing it. But I want to share part of my testimony with you guys today. Also, I'd like to talk about Hope House, how I ended up at Hope House, and my experiences there. But most importantly, I want to talk about Jesus and everything he's done for me, delivering me from drug addiction, how he's restored my family, and gave me a new heart. I've done a lot of horrible things in my life. If anyone ever deserved death and hell, it's me. But God gave me mercy and salvation instead. I don't like talking about my past and how I used to live. I want to glorify God, not the things I used to do. But I want y'all to know how drastically God has changed my life and that he can change anyone. No one is out of reach, too far gone if you call on him and believe. For 20 years, I was an alcoholic and a chronic drug user. I've been in and out of jails and institutions my whole adult life. I've served out 3 state sentences, been booked in jail as an adult 84 times, and spent somewhere around 3,000 days locked in a cell. Throughout my drug addiction, I was a needle junkie, a drug dealer. I was violent, very abusive. Because of me, my small children witnessed things no child should ever have to see. I remember being so angry, I would go into these drug-induced fits of rage. It would last not hours, but days. I remember driving a truck one day with my little girl's mother with me. I looked over at her and she was crying. I asked her why she was crying, and she told me, "I don't make you happy anymore." I didn't say anything to her, but I understood that day that it wasn't her that didn't make me happy, that nothing made me happy, and that I'd never been happy. I had an empty spot in me that nothing could fill. No matter how many drugs I did or how much money I had, I was never content. I blamed everyone else for all the stuff that was wrong in my life. I had to watch my kids grow up through pictures and from the other side of a glass. All the ball seasons and daddy-daughter dances and things I missed made me bitter and full of hate. My life was nothing but self-inflicted pain and chaos. I hurt everyone who ever loved me and anyone who ever had to try to help me. During some of the times I was incarcerated, I attended church. I went to church with my family as a kid and grew up with my mom talking to me about Jesus. I remember inmates going to the altar and praying with tears in their eyes and seemed to feel better when they did so. I went one night to pray, but I felt nothing, and nothing happened. I know now that I didn't feel anything at night because I didn't mean what I was saying. It was just words, and a part of me was not willing to let go of my sin. Even during incarceration, I was rarely sober. I always found a way to get drugs inside. I honestly say the Department of Corrections did absolutely nothing to rehabilitate me. The things you see and the way you have to carry yourself in there, it just made me worse. I had more hate, more bitterness. I couldn't understand that life goes on while you're in there. In my eyes, I was the one hurt and done wrong. I felt like I was abandoned by everyone except my mother and lost all trust for anyone. Even after being locked up for years, the day I get out, I start back right where I left off. Satan was always putting stumbling blocks in my path. It seemed like there was always someone trying to push me back to my old life as soon as I got out of jail. At the end of my addiction, from August 2019 to July 2020, I was completely out of my mind. The devil had full control over me. I don't know if I even believed in God at that time. If I did, I hated him. My mother would beg me to stop using, but I just didn't care. I didn't want to. My mom and my little girl's mother would try to talk to me about God and tell me to ask Jesus to help me. It made me furious. I said the awfulest things about Jesus that I won't repeat. I made fun of God and told him he wasn't real. I'd lost all my morals and felt absolutely nothing for anyone. Meth was my God, and the only thing that mattered to me is that I didn't run out, and I didn't care what I had to do to keep it that way. I had no empathy for anyone. My mother would beg me to stop bringing drugs in her house and quit selling them out her driveway. And on 2 separate occasions, she said she was cleaning my room and poked herself with a dirty needle laying around that I had just thrown down. But even that didn't stop me from doing what I was doing. I would take advantage and prey on other people's sickness by pushing dope off on them. During my time selling that poison to people, I've caused families with babies to split up, watched people lose their jobs, and watched the dope destroy their lives right in front of me. I try to tell myself I was a good person because I'd give them dope for free or help them get their electricity turned on or something like that. But I was beyond selfish and never did anything for anyone without an ulterior motive. I stayed in constant paranoia, and most of the time I couldn't go more than a week without putting my hands on someone. More times than not, my child's mother. I would spend all my days shooting meth and drinking, pretty much making my child's mother shoot it up with me. I lost so much weight, I hated even seeing myself in a mirror. Both of our arms looked terrible, and it hurt to even sit down because I had lost so much weight and I didn't have a rear end left. I know a lot of addicts out there have similar stories as mine, but I believe with all my heart, if it wasn't for my mother's prayers and God's divine plan for my life, I wouldn't be here to talk to y'all today. 2020, I was so run down from the dope that I was falling asleep and wrecking a car almost every week. Also, within that year, 3 different times, I ingested enough meth to kill me. The second time put me in the hospital in Franklin for 2 days, handcuffed to a bed with IVs and catheters before that they had even received me into jail. On July 24th, 2020, after being on the run for several months, I was finally arrested here in Bowling Green. I ingested 9 grams of meth in the back of a cop car trying to hide it when they booked me in. When all the paperwork come in, all the warrants come through, and the paperwork was finished, I had 4 different felony cases in 3 counties. I was through. My life was over with. They put me into a dry cell, and I lay down and fell asleep. When I woke up, I immediately knew something was bad wrong. My chest was stinging like crazy, and I couldn't see a foot out in front of me. I knew something had happened with a bag of meth, and it had leaked through. I'd always talked foolishly, saying I wanted to die or did not care if I did, but I knew then that I did care. I didn't want to die. I'd never felt so scared or alone in my life. I thought that if I didn't die, that I was going to be blind. I kept thinking about my babies and how I didn't spend any time with them while I was out, and now I was probably never going to see them again. I didn't call out for the guards. I called on the only one that could help me. I didn't say my usual prayer, God, get me out of here, because I knew I wasn't getting out or didn't think I'd be out of jail for a long, long time. I cried out to God and said, if you're real, please help me. I don't want to die, but if I do, please let my kids know that I love them and I'm sorry. It still tears me up to think about today that even all the things that I said about God and how I mocked him and said he wasn't real, he still heard me. So after a while, they came to take me to a shower, and I was able to flush the rest of the meth that hadn't dissolved in me. The next time I woke up, they were putting me in another cell, and I could see again. I can't say for sure if God saved me that night or not. All I know is from then on, I started reading the Bible daily. I started noticing weird things, like having feelings for other people. I started to care about other people for the first time that I could remember. For the first time I could remember, I was happy and at peace, and I felt in my heart that God had saved me. I've been different ever since. I've been seeing a chaplain on Zoom meetings for about 4 months. He was a great man named Mark Cochran, and that's how I ended up at Hope House. I really didn't know what to expect going there. I heard it was really hard, but they did CrossFit, and I was excited about that. I'd always felt like I was an outcast, but everyone welcomed me when I got there, and the guys there were just as messed up as I was. So I'll never forget the first night that I met 2 of the volunteers there, Brenda and Phil. The amount of love they showed towards me and others scared me to death. I wasn't used to that kind of thing. I asked one of the guys about them, and they told me that they'd come every week and cook for us. I was so confused. I asked why. Is their kid in Hope House or something? I couldn't figure out why they take out time of their lives to come and be around people like us. I understand now that they do it because they're 2 of the most amazing and good-hearted people I've ever met in my life, and they love Jesus. Brandon, Phil, thank you for everything you've done for us and the guys. I'd also like to thank the Hope House staff, especially John Calloway and Justin Crow. I'm a better man because of you too. Hope House gave me so many things. I learned how to laugh again and had so much fun while I was there. They also gave me structure in my life that I so badly needed. They also gave me something that nobody had given me in a long time, a chance. They put faith in all of us to do the right thing. I mean, they let people like us run around their vehicles and thousands of dollars worth of tools and believe we will bring them back. They've helped me in so many ways, like getting my insurance started so I could see the doctor and get the medication that I needed. They helped me get to a specialist where I was treated and cured for hepatitis C. They helped me get to a good job, making good money that I never would have been able to get on my own. Plus, John Calloway helped me and my family to get a lawyer that no doubt without him I wouldn't be here today. I'd be back in jail. And most of all, they gave me friendship, real friendship, which I didn't think existed anymore. My life has changed so much in the last 22 months, all for the better. It's nothing that I've done but Christ working through me. I have to give him all the glory for everything. I ended up with a 24-year sentence, and it's God's plan for my life that I'm here tonight, not in prison. There are no coincidences with God's planning. My wife and I used to get high together, and I don't believe she would have ever been able to get clean with me on the streets. So God left me in jail for a while, long enough for her to go to rehab and get straight. Now, glory to God, she's had full custody of our daughter back a year this month. God has not only blessed me, but my family. My mom and dad started coming to church with me, and they still do every Sunday. Thanks to Jesus, when I tell my kids something today, they can believe their daddy. And when I tell them I'm going to do something or I'm going to be somewhere, they know they can count on me. My life is anything but perfect. I mess up every single day, but I don't have to run from anything today. Instead, I run to Jesus Christ. There's no way that I would ever trade my worst day in Christ for my best day out there using. There's no comparison. To my brothers in program living, I love all of you, and I want to see all of you make it. Sadly, statistics say not all of you will. Drugs can kill you. We all know that. But it really hit home to me last year firsthand when my roommate at Hope House for 4 months, Zach Payne. He was a great person, a 25-year-old kid with 2 little daughters. He made some of the same wrong choices all of us have, and he lost his battle with addiction. God rest his soul. You have to make up your mind that you're going to do something different. Don't worry about what the next person is doing. You are here for a year, and I'm telling you, in a blink of an eye, and it will be over with. Work on yourselves. You're in a good place where you are safe. There are no drugs there, and you're surrounded by good people that actually care about you and not what you can do for them, like everywhere else. Lose the jailhouse mentality. For years, I carried around this tough guy persona and prided myself because I did my time. I never told on anyone. But guess what? I can promise you, my 12-year-old daughter and 16-year-old son sitting out there doesn't care that their daddy wasn't a rat. All they care about is that I wasn't there for them. The ones of you guys with kids, listen to me. You can only sit on the opposite side of the glass and tell your baby so many times that you love them and you're going to do better. Take it from me. They will stop believing you. You have to be there. I believe in you all. I'm praying for you all. And if I could tell you one thing, put God and his kingdom first and watch everything else fall into place. And remember, no matter how big of a giant is up in front of you, you have a God behind you that's way bigger. Thank you and God bless.